Hey there. It's been a while since I've posted anything. I have been working on and off on the Mustang here. Just been busy with I have a boy that's in middle school football. Busy running around trying to take care of that and other things with business, but this is what I've done so far since my last video, which isn't a whole lot, but I went ahead and replaced these drop downs here on both sides, and I've also replaced or patched the quarter panel back here. My first attempt at butt welding anything. Had a little issue right here. I think the metal got a little thin there. I guess I might have been sanding on it, trying to grind down those welds a little bit too much, and I think it got a little thin there, and then as soon as I would go ahead and tack, it'd burn a hole, and I started chasing it, it seemed like, right in this area a lot. But I think I've got it. That's my dog. He likes to play every time I'm out here. So all he wants to do is chase the ball. But I went ahead and tack weld the drop down to the bottom here of the fender or the panel, and they still need to grind down the welds. I also had to replace the inner fender, a little drop down here that had rusted. I don't know if you can see that, the light's not that great, but I just had to cut and put a new piece in here. I did see where it really didn't line up too good down in here. I'm gonna have to work this a little bit right here. There's a gap. I'm thinking about maybe having to go ahead and cut this right here, and so I could go ahead and pull this together and then maybe fill in here with a piece like this, so I can kind of pinch them all together and fill in. If anybody has a better suggestion, please let me know. I think trying to do this and figure out, trying to do it right, where some people, I guess they already know what they're doing so they can get right to work. Half the battle is trying to figure out, make sure I'm doing it right so I don't have to do it a second time. But if I have to, then I just have to. I've ground down these welds here. And then I did the same over here. I'm going to go ahead and sand this off here, this little surface rust, and see how bad this is. And see how bad that rust goes through that, if it does even go through the panel here. It might just be surface rust. I can grind it off and then treat it, and then call it good, hopefully. I found that the reproduction edges on these, this is nice and crisp right here, the edge is here, but over on the other one they're a little bit more rounded right here. It's not as crisp, this edge. That's the only difference I've seen on that, really. Well, for the most part, it fit in there pretty good. Next thing I'm going to have to tackle is the rear piece here, which goes up under here, right through here. And get that in there first before I put the tail light panel in. Excuse the shaky camera here. But I found that piece fit real good, and so I'd heard someone, I'm not sure who, but that said something about spend the extra money and get the original tooling tailpiece because it fits a lot better. And I have to say this fits real good. I fitted in there better than that, but it locked right in there pretty good. So I was real happy to see that. That's less reworking for me. But this one piece here that goes up underneath between the drop downs here, my measurement, or it's a little bit long, so I'm going to have to work some of these edges here, kind of shrink it in some. I think on both sides I'd like to be able to get these all lined up, you know, on the back so they all line up together. So that'll take a little bit of figuring out, but I don't think it'll be too bad. But not too bad for, you know, what I know, I guess. I'm learning along the way. I still have to come back in here also and trim this drop down to the rear quarter patch here. Just go ahead and trim all that up. I was just waiting to do that after I got it in there real good. I'm thinking I might need to, before I weld, and if anybody has any suggestions, before I actually put this in, put the trunk on maybe and line up the gaps. Make sure that this doesn't need to move in or out before I weld this secure. That's what I'm thinking. I might just need to do that just to make sure that this doesn't need to move in or out or any. Not that it's really going to move any. I think it's in there pretty solid. I think it's pretty much still in the same spot it was, because I really didn't do too much back there other than to take this back piece off. But I'll still put it on there, I think, and just line it up just to make sure. Just a little step to take just to make sure it's right, I think. But if anybody has any suggestion, I'd appreciate it. But I think once I get that done there, I think my next step would be, or is going to be, I have a rotisserie that I picked up off Craigslist at a decent price. Not, you know, the guy used it one time and it's like brand new. So I thought I'd get that so I could go ahead and put this on a rotisserie. But I'm thinking before I can do that, I've already replaced these, and I had this in another video for the bumpers there. Those bolt holes were, the nuts were broke off inside, so I replaced those so I can bolt that up to that rotisserie, and also replace that and the core support. So, but I'm thinking before I put it on a rotisserie, I'm thinking I might need to go ahead and get this upper and lower, excuse me, hit the wrong button here, still learning this camera, but the upper and lower cowl, I'm thinking, you know, I go ahead and put that on there. I think that'll help me, because I think it'll stiffen this whole thing up here. I hate to put it on a rotisserie, and I'm not sure if I'm overthinking it, but if I put it on a rotisserie, and that might, I don't know if it'll flex in or out without that being on there. So I'm thinking that I might need to go ahead and get that done before I actually put it on the rotisserie. But if anybody has any knowledge of that, just shoot me something in the comments. I'd appreciate that also. And then once obviously that's done, I think I can come back in here and start working on these floor pans. That one's pretty shot. but I'm looking at right here, and it looks like some surface rust. I can grind that down. Might be a little pitted, but I won't know how bad it is until I grind it, but I think that might be okay. But I'll see that here in a little bit. But other than that, also I'm wondering, I see where some of the guys, as they go, as they do some bits and pieces here, they go ahead and epoxy primer it before they move on to the rest of the car. And I'm just wondering if that's something that should be done. If it's a real big, something that just for the rust, it coming back onto it, or if it can wait until I get everything done and then come back, sand it down, and do it all at once. I don't know if it's a big deal or not, or if I should do it, piece by piece as I go, like the rear here. Go ahead and epoxy primer it before I move on to the cowl up there. So that's one of my concerns there, if I should go ahead and epoxy primer this bare metal before I move on. But that's about all I've done since my last video. I know Rudderfly had sent me a message, and I'd been looking for him on there, and I know he's probably been busy. He just got on there and posted a couple more, and I appreciate him shooting me a message. Kind of got me back out here to shoot a video real quick and kind of show you what I've been doing. So hopefully I can spend a little bit more time, but there again, it's starting hunting season here in Georgia. I've been kind of holding out, not bow hunting, but when the gun season open up, I'll probably be going down to the deer woods for a little bit. But that's about it. But if anybody has any comments or suggestions, please send me a message, and I'd appreciate it. I'll talk to you later. Thanks for watching.